The doorbell chimed at 7:15 a.m., sharp and insistent, pulling me from the sizzle of pancakes on the griddle. Through the peephole, there she was, my mother, Margaret, dressed in her Sunday finest, lips painted a flawless crimson, ready to unleash another one of her calculated sermons. But this time, something was different. Behind her, two federal agents stepped out from the shadows of their black SUVs, badges glinting in the early Michigan sun. The game she'd played for 35 years was finally over. My name is Emily, and for the first time in what felt like forever, my life had settled into a fragile rhythm. The morning light streamed through our kitchen window in Bramptonville, warming the counter where I'd just wrapped up reviewing quarterly reports for green tech innovations. 3 lunchboxes lined up neatly for the kids' school day. Daniel had already headed out for his teaching shift at the local high school. Everything seemed steady, almost normal. I just ended a video call with our sustainable tech investors, feeling that rare spark of accomplishment. I was pouring my second cup of coffee when my phone buzzed. Mom's name lit up the screen, and my gut twisted like it always did, a conditioned response after decades of being her daughter. Emily. Darling, her voice oozed with that saccharine tone she saved for when she needed a favor. It's been ages. We're planning a family get-together next weekend at the cabin up north. You have to come. It had been 3 months since we'd last spoken. At Dylan's birthday bash, where she'd spent the evening gushing over my brother's innovative ideas while grilling me about why I looked so worn out, hinting that maybe I was prioritizing work over family. The undertone was always there, successful but self-centered. That's how she saw me. I'll check with Daniel, I replied, already brainstorming excuses. The kids have basketball practice coming up. Oh, Emily. Her disappointment was Oscar-worthy. Family comes first. Dylan will be heartbroken. He's going through such a rough patch. You know, that startup didn't pan out. Which one? I bit back the question. The app for food delivery that never launched? The crypto trading scheme? The thrift shop that shuttered after a month? But I held my tongue, as I always did. I'll let you know. Mom, please do. And Emily. Maybe you could spot him a little something. Just a bridge loan to get him rolling again. You're thriving at that firm of yours. There it was, the real motive behind the call. I shut my eyes, the familiar cocktail of guilt and bitterness weighing me down. All my life, I'd watched her orchestrate this charade. Dylan was the golden boy, fragile and in need of shielding, while I was the reliable mule, dependable, but somehow emotionally deficient. I ended the call and stood in my kitchen, surveying the life I'd clawed my way to, the fridge plastered with the kids' drawings, the calendar dotted with family outings and PTA meetings, the little vegetable patch Daniel had planted for me by the sill. Everything I'd achieved, I'd earned on my own, often in spite of her meddling. I glanced at my laptop, pulling up my bank app, a ritual born from years of financial paranoia. Growing up, money was a tool in our house, wielded by Mom to reward and punish. I'd funded my way through college with loans I was still chipping away at, covered Grandpa's hospital bills when she swore they were broke, even pitched in for home repairs while Dylan lounged rent-free in the basement, lost in his video games. My phone pinged again, a text from Dylan. Hey sis. Mom mentioned you might help out. Just need a couple grand for this new gig. Solid gold this time. I didn't reply. Instead, I finished my coffee and prepped for my next meeting. Outside, suburban Michigan hummed along, neighbors jogging with dogs, kids on scooters. The quiet stability I'd battled for. But as I sank into my desk chair, a nagging unease crept in. Mom's voice had an unfamiliar edge, a desperate clinginess. The reunion felt contrived, too perfectly timed. After 35 years, I'd learned to trust my instincts about her. I jotted a note to loop in Daniel later. He was always sharp at spotting her ploys. Maybe because he hadn't endured her grip from birth. For now, though, I had real work. A real life that didn't orbit her emotional black hole or Dylan's perpetual flops. The storm was brewing, I just hadn't felt the first drops yet. Living under Margaret's roof was like being trapped in a glossy magazine spread, everything polished to perfection. Every family photo staged like a Hallmark card. To the outside world, we were the epitome of the American dream, a charming colonial in Vermont. 2 cars gleaming in the drive. Kids in spotless outfits beaming for the camera. But that shine was just another layer of control. The album spun her narrative, me at 7. Rigid in a frilly Easter dress. While Dylan, 5, lounged carefree on the Easter bunny's knee. Even in snapshots, the divide showed his easy laugh. My strained grin. He got to be the kid, I had to be the model. Chin up, Emily. Don't slouch. Why can't you loosen up like your brother? By 12, the roles were etched in granite. Dylan's report cards trickled in with CS and DS. And Mom would tousle his hair, cooing that grades didn't capture his creative spark. Maya's got a curt nod and a warning about getting too big for my britches. When I took first in the regional science fair, she paraded the trophy but whispered to church friends that I was too achievement-obsessed. Skimping on real connections. The money games kicked off in high school. I bagged groceries after school, socking away every dime for college. Mom always found a crisis, the furnace conked out. Dylan needed new lacrosse gear. The vacation fund was light. Blood is thicker than water, she'd say. And I'd fork over half my pay. Meanwhile, Dylan's stint at the mall fizzled after 3 weeks, too draining on his spirit. Mom consoled him with a new gaming setup. I remember clutching my acceptance letter to Michigan State at 18. Hands trembling with joy, a partial scholarship in hand. Mom's first words? How'll you cover the rest? You know we're topped out. That night, I overheard her on the phone with Aunt Louise, raving about Dylan's untapped potential while he, at 16, had just totaled the family car for the second time. College was my ticket out. But the guilt tailed me like a shadow. Calls came regularly. Dylan needed counseling, which he ditched after 2 visits. Grandpa required meds, later revealed as covered by insurance. The roof was leaking. While Mom splurged on quartz countertops for the kitchen, I juggled extra loans, 3 jobs, and wired cash home. My dorm mate called me nuts. Why keep feeding them? I couldn't articulate it. In our family, love was a ledger, and I was forever in debt. The cycle dragged into my 20s. Dylan flunked out of community college twice, dabbled in a dozen dead-end pursuits, fitness guru, stock day trader, podcast host, motivational speaker. Each flop came with excuses and Mom's coddling. He's discovering his path, she'd say. Not everyone's a workaholic like you, Emily. All head, no heart. That cut deep because I had heart. Every wire transfer, every skipped holiday for overtime, every swallowed retort when Dylan flaunted trips on social media while I covered his phone bill. It all stemmed from heart. But in her script, I was the ice queen, the bean counter, the daughter who valued ledgers over lineage. The fracture should have hit at my wedding. Daniel and I envisioned something low-key, intimate. Mom commandeered it, bloating the guest list with her bridge club, then slapped me with a bill for the unapproved upgrades. Dylan, slated as best man, rolled in 2 hours late to rehearsal, reeking of weed and chuckling it off. Mom cornered me. You're being too hard on him. Weddings stress folks differently. But I was ensnared in the web. Even as I built my own family, birthed my kids, the patterns lingered. My promotions at Green Tech were downplayed. Don't burn out, dear. Neglecting those little ones. Dylan's moved back to her basement at 32? Smart regrouping. Facebook flooded with pics of gatherings I wasn't looped in on, captioned with digs about priorities. No one saw the hidden transfers, the unpaid loans, the childhood room repurposed as Dylan's man cave. Hindsight screamed I should have spotted the ramp up. The frenzy in her charm. A 35-year blueprint doesn't evolve, it escalates. A mom who'd played favorites her whole life doesn't sprout ethics, she hones her craft. The cabin in upstate New York gleamed like a fall postcard. All wooden charm amid fiery leaves. I'd driven 5 hours with Daniel and the kids, my insides churning the whole trip. Daniel kept shooting me looks, his hand on mine over the console. We can bail anytime, he said again as we crunched onto the gravel drive. But I was committed, locked into this facade of kinship. The kids bolted out, thrilled for cousin time. Mom materialized on the porch in a designer sweater, flashing her public smile, the one for PTA meetings and bank clerks. There's my girl, she trilled, arms outstretched. The embrace felt like a barter. Dylan slouched out behind her, eyes bloodshot, likely nursing a hangover. He tossed a half-wave. The afternoon dragged in stiff chit-chat. Mom had laid out a lavish buffet, harping on the cost and her efforts. Dylan dominated the den, spinning yarns to aunts and uncles about his latest, disruptive venture, something with NFTs and eco-apps that sounded like hot air but dazzled the crowd. I defaulted to kitchen duty, slipping into old grooves, chop, stir, plate, clean. Emily's always so efficient, Mom told Aunt Patricia, twisting it into a subtle jab. Post-dinner, as dusk painted the lake, Mom tugged me aside. Walk with me. Honey. Just us. The lakeside trail was timeless, straight from my youth. She hooked her arm in mine, more leash than link. So glad you made it. Family's all we got. I hummed vaguely. Dylan's onto a winner this time. Could turn things around for him, for us all. Here we go. I thought. But he needs seed money to launch. I've chipped in what I can. But she trailed off with a theatrical sigh. 20 grand would seal it. Think of it as investing in kin. 20 grand. The figure dangled like bait. More than any prior ask. Dwarfing past loans. Mom. I can't. Can't or won't. Her tone edged sharp, then softened. I know you've got it. Emily. That cushy job. Daniel's salary. While your brother's scraping by, hoarding what you don't even use. I halted. Dylan's 34. Time he stands on his own 2 feet. Her features tightened. You've always been stingy. Even as a kid. Tallying every favor. So entitled. The reversal was so warped. So flipped from truth. I nearly barked a laugh. But she was already rummaging in her bag. Actually. A small favor. She thrust a thick envelope at me. Take these back to Michigan. Docs for my financial planner. Mail's unreliable. And they're urgent. The envelope weighed heavy. Why not drive them yourself? Me and city traffic? Besides, you're headed that way. She patted my arm. Insistent. Just retirement stuff. No biggie. I eyed the unsealed flap. Papers peeking. It felt off. But exhaustion won. Tired of clashing. Of villain status. Of every exchange a skirmish. Fine. Her grin was victorious. Knew you'd come through. Blood's thicker. After all, the return stroll was mute. Daniel was bundling the kids into the car. Reading my vibe. Fabricating goodbyes. Dylan didn't bother emerging. Mom hugged me curbside, murmuring, "Mull that investment. Dylan's counting on it." As we peeled away, the envelope rode shotgun floor like a live wire. Daniel eyed it. "What's that?" Mom wants me to drop off papers for her advisor. He paused. Since when does she entrust you with squat? The query burrowed deep. He nailed it. Mom never handed me keys as a teen. Heirlooms. Not even secret recipes. Why this? Why no? Stop at the next exit, Daniel urged. Something's fishy. I drove on. The envelope growing denser with each mile. Mom's echo, just retirement junk. Nothing major. But Daniel's doubt spread. Because in 35 years, she'd never given without taking. Never trusted what she truly prized. The kids were tucked in. House hushed save the dishwasher's drone. Daniel and I hunched at the kitchen table. The envelope splayed like a crime dossier. He'd pushed to peek. And damn if he wasn't spot on. My fingers trembled as I fanned the pages. Holy hell, Daniel breathed. The docs were fraud artistry, loan apps bearing my forged signature. A power of attorney ceding my finances to Mom. Credit pulls for eye-watering sums, $50K here. $75,000 there, all with my SSN. Job details. Meticulously mimicked scrawl. Check this. Daniel lifted a sheet from Fast Cash Loans. Dated last month. Greenlit for $45,000. Funds dumped into an unknown account. I yanked open my laptop, hammering into my credit dashboard. The screen loaded. My score had tanked 200 points. Alien accounts popped up. Inquiries from obscure lenders. She's been at it for months. I scrolled alerts I'd overlooked. How'd I miss this? Daniel scrutinized the SIGs. These are pro-level. She practiced. He met my gaze. Emily. This ain't spur of the moment. It's orchestrated. I snatched another. A business loan for Dylan's eco-wash detailing empire. Me as lead borrower and guarantor. $100,000. Approval imminent next week. That's why the handoff, I pieced it. She'd file post-delivery. Frame me as submitter. My phone rang, Mom. Don't, Daniel warned. But I hit speaker. Emily. Honey. I goofed, wrong envelope. Old junk for shredding. Destroy it? I'll post the real ones. The fib slid so slick. How often had I bought that timbre? Sure. Mom. You're a gem. Oh. And Dylan's investment? Clock's ticking. Still pondering. Don't dawdle. Chances slip. Pause. You've raised those kids so well. Pity if money woes hit their future. Tuition's brutal. The veiled threat landed. I hung up. Daniel was dialing our attorney. I stared at the mess. The puzzle snapping clear. Loans from quick approval online sharks. Some inflating my salary 50%. Listing phantom assets like Florida rentals. She used my employee badge number from Green Tech, I pointed. How? Then it clicked. Last year's reunion. Her proud inspection of my ID while I slaved over plates. We need to verify funded loans. Daniel said. Freeze credit now. I dove into sites. Fast Cash showed an active $45,000 in my name. Deposited weeks back to a foreign bank. Payments, $800 monthly. Another lender. QuickBucks. Had 2 approvals for $75,000 total. Payout slated post my delivery. She'd let me swing, I realized. Betrayal crushing. Defaults. Probes all on me. My prints on these now. Daniel held me as fury tears flowed. 35 years of gaslighting peaked here. Every guilt lay. Every Dylan sob story. Every selfish label prepping for this heist. We'll end her, Daniel vowed. Police report tomorrow. Theft. Fraud. The works. I nodded. A spark igniting. Then, Dylan's $100,000 loan address. Google Maps revealed a derelict Detroit strip mall. Unit vacant. Windows boarded. Tags sprayed. They'd bolt with the cash. Daniel snapped pics. Not on our watch. Amid the wreckage of her deceit, Something hardened in me. Guilt morphed to resolve. Pure, scorching rage. The attorney's office reeked of leather and stale brew. Laura Thompson, XDA turned fraud hawk, arrayed the docs like a war map. This is comprehensive, she adjusted specs. Your mom's no amateur. Forgeries that'd dupe banks. She eyed me. Act swift, report. Freeze. Notify lenders. I'd spent the night listing. Phoning bureaus. Reciting the nightmare. Yes. My SSN. No. Not my app. Yes. My mother. Criminal charges? Daniel pressed. Laura nodded. ID theft. Forgery. Wire fraud, federal territory. You ready? I flashed on years of strings pulled. Money siphoned as duty, sibling rivalry as sport. Absolutely. We documented for hours. Laura had me chronicle mom's manipulation saga. Pattern surfaced I'd buried, birthday cards that were blank check sides signed blindly. The phone plan in my name at 18 she ghosted. Tanking my credit. Her memorized vitals, SSN. License. Even passwords from my maternity help. Years in the making, Laura said. Calculated. Not desperate. Police station next. Detective Ramirez noted neutrally till docs hit. Brows arched. Sophisticated. FBI financial crimes inbound. By dusk. I was drained. Kids sense the storm, mommy's calls. Daddy's tease. Grim faces. I'd halted 2 loans pre-fund. But 3 dispersed. $120,000 vanished. Then Mom appeared at our door. Daniel spotted her on the cam. Ignore. But I was through cowering. Chain latched. I cracked it. Emily. Darling, she began. Eyes red-rimmed. Hair askew. Misunderstanding. Those are old evidence now, I sliced. Lawyer and cops have copies. Color drained. You ratted your own mother? You pilfered my identity. $120,000 loans. I'd repay. Dylan's ventured boom. You've got plenty, you'd barely notice. Debt's mine. Unconsented. She leaned in. Families shield each other. Think of Dylan, this wrecks him. Dylan's adult. Consequence-free till now. Tears flipped to venom. Jealous since diapers. Penny pinching. Holier than thou. You think you're superior. I'm done bankrolling you. Ungrateful, she reined it. Mask on. Return the docs. We'll fix. I'm your mom. My mom jeopardized my credit. Job. Kid's future for cash. Gave me life. Then sabotaged it. I eased the door shut. She pounded. Alternating pleas and snarls. Daniel called cops for trespass. She fled pre-arrival. That night, I severed ties, blocked numbers. Socials. Emails. Daniel swapped locks. Codes. But I knew Mom's lifelong chess game wouldn't fold. The battle raged on. The HR call hit Wednesday, 9:45 a.m. Emily. My office? Issue arose. Gut plummeted. Karen. HR head. Reserved issues for disasters. I saved my file. Heels echoing like doom. Her space felt claustrophobic. She held a printout. Face blank. Anonymous tip on financial misconduct. What kind? She passed it, polished email alleging I siphoned Greentecha's eco-grant funds to personal pockets, specific codes. Dates. Internals only insiders knew. Fabricated, I said steady. Karen. I'm victim of ID theft, my mother I want to trust. Emily. Your track's spotless. But details demand probe. Probe away, nothing there. Her look eased. Hope so. But protocol, suspend access. The desk clear felt like exile. Colleagues eyed curiously. 8 years. Escorted out like a felon. In the lot. Car-bound. I brainstormed. Those internals Mom couldn't know unless. I rang Daniel. Hack via home? Remote. Recall last month Mom's tech help plea. Bank access issue. I logged work email from her rig. She keylogged. Snagged creds. Provable. Maybe. Evening. Daniel handled dinner. I hit Cousin Sarah's family outlier from Mom's poison. Favor. Probe Dylan on Mom's new laptop. Sarah arched brow. Fraud buzz. Related. Hours later. Callback. Dylan sloshed. Loose-lipped. Mom hired a tech dude last month for a security upgrade. Dylan cracked up at her sudden savvy. Cash $500. Puzzle locked. Contingency nuke. But overkill helped. Email's depth would boomerang. No crook hands a crime blueprint. Assaults mounted. Dylan's viral family post branded me heartless. Jailing Mom over expenses. Old pals rang. Fed her spin. My breakdown, lashing kin. Kids' school flagged tip on my Fed probe, questioning safety. Daniel's school got parallel. Neighbors, letters dubbing me criminal next door. LinkedIn, bogus reviews of past embezzlement. She's torching all, I told Laura urgently. Career. Rep. Family. Laura grim. Bolsters us. Guilt reeks. Self-sabotage. Logic didn't suit the grind, documenting harassment. Reports. Shielding kids from whispers. Grandma pics vanished, mommy's tense calls. Then green tech callback, breach traced to Vermont IP Mom's spot during my login. Forensics, unauthorized grabs. All from that window. Apologies owed, Karen said. And a bump. Victim of espionage. Laughable, my septuagenarian mom. Googling hacks. Hiring shady help for felonies. But scars lingered, visible probe fueled office gossip. Mom's goal hit, if sinking. Drag me under. Yet she'd forged my steel, resilient. Cunning. Unyielding. Skills bred for her / Dylan's leech. I'd wield them now. Detroit FBI office lacked Hollywood flair, no neon boards. Just bland room where Agent Carla Rivera mapped my saga in folders. 6 weeks post-discovery. Proof towered. Your mom's meticulous, Rivera slid a page. But careless. This voicemail. Transcript. 3-year-old rant on missing Dylan's bash. I pull strings. You'll never pin it. Too clever for trails. Emily, smarter than you. Voicemail save. Gut told me. Rivera, pattern established. With core pack. Forgeries. Theft, federal slam dunk. Dylan. Tougher, apps name him. But she could solo. Unless direct proof. I queued a pocket dial audio. 2 weeks back. Dylan's clear, Mom. She won't cough 20K. File loans now pre-bust. Ferrari rentals deposited for Miami. Our break. Rivera grinned. Jackpot. Probe unearthed depths, Mom's decades-long scams on kin, and in Arizona's mystery cards. Dead uncles, SSN milking benefits. Small. Stealthy hauls funding their facade. Wire up, Rivera said. Convo could nail. She's blocked. Unblock. Float negotiation. Public meet. Self-incriminate. Evening porch with Daniel. Kids frolicking. Normalcy remote. You can skip, he said. Evidence suffices. But closure demanded it, no dangling threads. I texted, talk. Instant. Sense at last. Tomorrow. 11. Main ST. Cafe. Morning. Rivera wired me discreet. Let her spill. No push. Cafe bustled, folks sipping lattes. Oblivious. Mom corner booth. Gaunt but groomed. She rose for hug, I endured. Wire pressing. Need wise up. Family indoors. We sat, she'd ordered my brew, 2 sugars. Black, like she owned me. This escalated, I said. Drop charges. Bury it. FBI's in. Simple, call it squabble. They'll drop. $120,000 loans? Dismissive wave. Dylan's biz repays. Investors queued. Smile. Overdramatic. Making mountains from molehills. Stole my ID. Borrowed. Nuance. Hacked work. Grin widened. Prove. Bingo. IT did your IP. Falter. Impossible. I hired slip. Hired who? Nothing. Misheard. Admitted hiring. Twisting words. Always do. Know the toll? Dylan's insomniac. Prison phobic. My boy. Shielded forever and you shatter. Dylan chose fraud. He shadows me. Punish me, I source lenders. Perfected your sig. Paid that tech kid for access. Cafe din faded. Full confession. Mom rambled, for family. Dylan's tomorrow. You've never grasped too aloof. Too pure. Congrats. Emily. Mom jailed. Brother broke. Your pristine life. Built on our ruin. I rose. You ruined it. We're unfinished. Done, I texted Rivera. Window view, agent center. Mom clocked. Emotions flashing, bewilderment. Fury. Dawn. You taped. Statement. Every syllable. Bitter cackle. My flesh and blood. Should have known, too sharp by half. The 7:15 a.m. Bell. 3 weeks post-arrest. Pancakes flipping. Kids squabbling cartoons. Daniel scanning news. Peephole, mom in court blacks. Pearls I'd gifted. Dylan's junker idling. She knocked. I spied SUVs rolling up. Agents deploying. Door open. Emily. We must discuss, not over soft. She chuckled. Dramatic as ever. Charges flop, your word versus mine. Who buys daughter versus mom? Smile. Right. Not over. Her mirth died, spotting my calm. Dylan exited. Agents closing. What did you do? Tone raw. Gave all. Dylan's fraud texts. Fake biz emails. Miami splurges on stolen funds. Sloppy sans you. Mom whirled as agents hit Dylan. He backpedaled. Palms up. Panic to betrayal, pointing her. Likely ratting. Cuffs snapped. Mom clutched my arm. Your brother. 34-year fraudster. Pull free. You schooled him consequence-free. I'll raise you. Pretense gone. Expose your cold core, daughter jailing kin. Try from lockup. Agents, Margaret Henderson. Bail breach. No victim contact. In desperation's bid. She'd violated order. Led away. She spun. Gave you everything. Gave trauma. Rest? Mine. Dylan slumped in SUV. Mom chin high. Performing to ghosts. Daniel flanked me. Kids peeked. Grandma jail. Yes. Bad acts have prices. Even family, especially. Love doesn't wound willfully. SUVs vanished. Neighbors stirred. Gossip loomed. But today? Liberation after 35 years. 6 months on. Mom drew 8 years federal. Dylan 5. They turned on each other. Shredding their bond. I skipped sentencing, cheering son's game. Embracing chosen life. Last sight, porch standoff. Her certainty I'd fold. She'd bred my grit for her gain. Never foresaw it'd seal her fate. But molding a kid as cash cow risks them locking the vault. News hit local. Daughter exposes mom's ID scam. Some decried heartless, others hailed brave. I tuned out. Had my true kin chosen. Reciprocal. Untallied. That morning. Agents gone. I bid adieu to manipulation's yoke. Free. Utterly.